G'day everyone, welcome back to another weekly tipping video on the channel. In this video today, I'm going to be doing my tips for round 16 of the 2023 AFL season. If you're going to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, that'd be heavily appreciated. And let's kick it off with my tips from last week. So round 15, the very last of the buy rounds, just the 6 games we had, and I managed to get a 4 out of 6. Not too bad at all. I did tip the Demons with the first game, just felt probably better team on paper, but usually teams after the bye aren't so good. Didn't really look into that too much, but I had good faith that the Cats would get it done, and they sure did. A blistering fourth term as they caught, Melbourne's defence napping with a few transition goals. Tipped the Lions, just felt they're the better team at the moment, better forward half team. Don't know about the Saints when going forward and scoring. I feel like they're having a bit of troubles there, and it was a really disappointing night for the Saints. Easy tip with the Swans, tipped them by I think around 50 points, ended up winning by 171, so I don't think anyone was really close to the margin at all. An absolute shellacking that game was. Had good faith in the Dons, felt pretty bullish in them, but again, maybe it's something after the bye, I don't know, but they were really poor after quarter time as Fremantle were just the complete better team on the night. The pressure was great, they smacked them in the midfield. They were really good going inside 52, few star performances. Jackson was awesome down forward, Strong and Brayshaw at their usual best. Close one here with the Pies. I felt pretty bullish with Collingwood, didn't know how Adelaide would fare at the G necessarily. I felt they would probably around 4 or 5 goals, but credit Adelaide, very unlucky not to win this game. Felt this one was almost deserving of a draw. Both teams played superbly well, but it's just the Pies too good in the fourth term. Shut them out when the moment mattered, and they won by 2 points. And again, really confident on the Suns bouncing back at home. They're usually very good at home against the Hawks side you can't trust on. Very inexperienced and also a very young team too. So yeah, the Suns with a huge win by around 70 odd points. So 4 out of 6. Returning now into the full 9 games, hopefully we can get into some good form. Righty, over on the bye rounds are finally finished. The full 9 games are here, and we're now entering into the back half of the season. Starting to really fly by now, and we kick it off with 2 beauties for Thursday and Friday night. First one, Thursday night, the Lions hosting the Tigers at the Gabba. Bit of an elim final rematch. This one to the Tigers try and get revenge against the Lions coming off the bye. I actually did read somewhere, I'll probably put it on the screen now, a tweet I saw. Every single team that's come off the bye this year, they have not beaten a team that hasn't come off the bye. So the only teams that have won that's coming off a bye was against another team who came off a bye as well. So just from that alone, a team that is coming off a bye isn't likely going to win. And against the Lions, who were pretty strong last week, their confidence should be up and about hosting the Tigers. But Richmond, they've been in some really good form before the bye. They did have under 𝐼𝐻𝐿 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐴. They're just seeming now to really ramp it up a bit entering the second half of the year. They're starting to really improve their method, improve their style, really executing well. The pressure's been really good, and they are just in genuine really good form, and they're taking up to some really good quality opposition, and I feel like they're a good chance here against the Lions. But the Lions at the Gabba, always really strong here, very good forward half team, just in some good form as well, coming off that win last week. So yeah, I understand people will probably be bullish on the Tigers here, but just because Richmond coming off the bye, they might be, a little bit slow, a little bit sluggish. They might start off the game well, but I just feel like the Lions at home, they should be in good control here. Their midfield's been really good. For the Tigers, they really have to bring their A game, though, of course, with their chaos footy and their high pressure as well. And I feel like they can match the Lions sort of in the contested game if the midfield is up and about. Taranto in superb form, but for me, the Lions just at home, in some good form. I feel like they're good enough to knock off the Tigers here. So I'll go the Lions at home at the Gabba for Thursday night. Brisbane to get it done by a sort of close but convincing margin. We'll go Lions by 17 points. For Friday night footy now, this poses as a very intriguing matchup. The grand final rematch, number 2 for this season. The Swans hosting the Cats at the SCG. Last time these two sides did play, Cats got it done by nearly 100 points. But this is a bit of a different one now. Back at the SCG, the Swans have got the Cats last few times at the SCG. So history and the results head-to-head at the venue is in their favour. And coming off an absolutely huge confidence-boosting win against the Eagles, the question now arises, are they good enough to now knock off the Cats? The Swans are yet to really knock off any good opposition so far this year. Probably the best team is the Tigers, but they're in 12th position. They haven't beaten a top 8 or a top 10 side this year, apart from the Suns, but yeah, they're just they're not very good against the good teams. But does the perspective now change given that huge confidence boosting win? We saw a lot of players that were in a little bit of poor form. 𝐼𝐼𝐿𝐼𝐻𝐼𝐻𝐸 kicking 5 goals, all that whatnot. They'll get Tom McCartan back in as well. Callum Mills in full fitness now, so they've got the key ins. And as for the Cats, well, it was a really good win against the Demons from what we did see. They were able to match a really strong competitive, contested heavy side in the Demons, and that fourth term was really good. They always are, the Cats, a very good ball-moving side, especially when going in their forward half. They still are one of the highest teams in the comp for attack, so they have every chance to really put on a big score against the Swans here, who always seem to have their inconsistencies in defending, and especially the contested game. So I feel like, yeah, for both teams, it's the contested game is going to be really, really important, because both teams obviously do have their inconsistencies in the midfield. It's pretty much an 8-point game here. There is not going to be Jeremy Cameron, but I'm pretty sure Paddy Dangerfield is returning into their lineup, so a key inclusion there for the Cats. A hard one to tip here. I'm pretty sure I just feel Geelong are the better team heading into this one. Again, I don't know about the Swans against these sort of better looking teams, but usually the Bloods always do seem to ramp it up a little bit in the second half of the year. Historically, usually are a good second half of these sides. Same with the Cats. Hard one to tip. Obviously, my bias as a Swans man, wanting the Swans to win, I am sort of swinging towards the Bloods at the moment, but I just don't know if the Swans in general are just that good enough at the moment. They are still a very inconsistent side in the contested game. Their confidence will be up and about, so I feel like they have every chance to knock off Geelong here, but I'll go with the Cats. I just feel like they are probably long-term looking like the better team. The inclusions they're having with Dangerfield, I just feel like in the midfield they're starting now to ramp it up a little bit, and still going in their forward half, they just have options. They just have a lot of threats. You know, Brad Close and Grind Myers, a few of their role players, Gary Run, have been in superb form as well. I just feel like the Cats will get it done over the Swans at SCG. It pains me to say it, but I just feel like Geelong will get it done and they'll move into the 8. So yeah, Cats to get it done at the SCG, Friday night footy. Gonna be, it really could go either way. I still don't know about the Swans against the more better on paper opposition, but yeah, it won't shock me if the Swans get a big win. We'll go Geelong though, and they'll get it done by maybe a bit of a close game, but I reckon the Cats run away with it by around 14 points. Moving on to the Saturday games now. We have the Crows hosting the North Melbourne Kangaroos at Adelaide Oval. North coming off the bye. They've had some, you know, pretty decent up and down sort of weeks. They've been very good at Marvel, but interstate they always have struggled a little bit, and, you know, instantly right off the bat, you know, I don't really see much chance here against the Crows, to be honest. They were really, really unlucky last week against the Pies. They're obviously going to be very angry, and they're going to have plenty of fire in their bellies as they are a top team at home at Adelaide Oval. So, yeah, this should be a convincing win. Heading Adelaide's way. Can't really see North Melbourne in this game. Again, off the bye. Could be a bit slow and sluggish. But yeah, the Crows should get the job done here convincingly. We'll go Adelaide to pick up a 40-plus point win. Crows by 44 points. Then at the same time, at 1:45 PM, we do have the Bulldogs hosting the Freo Dockers at Marvel Stadium. The Dockers are $3 in this game, which is actually quite decent value if you are a punter yourself. I think the only other game they've played at Marvel this year was against the Saints, and they did lose that game. So, yeah, it's been a while since I have been in Victoria. Obviously, got that win against the Demons at the MCG. But at Marvel, Bulldogs usually play their best footy at home, coming off the bye again. So it could be a little bit slow and sluggish from what we have seen this year with a few teams off the bye. Freo were really awesome last week against the Dons. They were able to really move the ball well. They defended superbly well, and they were really good in the midfield. Sarong and Brayshaw were awesome. Luke Jackson just keeps on showing up, and he's really showing the fruits of what he can potentially be as just that highly athletic ruck forward. Really poses a strong marking presence down there, and it's just such a huge influence, I think, for Freo going forward. Nat 5 starting to build as well. Liam Henry, career best game. I do like the Dockers heading into this game against the Bulldogs, but, you know, the Doggies, they are, you know, sitting around in the top 8. They are sort of, I think the last few weeks haven't been too strong against a few opposition. They've been very good in the stat differentials, but they have been poor when going inside 50. And that first half against North the other week, I thought they were quite dreadful. But I do expect the Bulldogs to get the job done here at Marvel Stadium at home. It is where they play their best footy. But for me, I'm quite bullish on the Dockers. Again, they're inconsistent, so I don't know. You know, it seems whenever I tip the Dockers, they play quite poor. But I'm just liking their form heading into this game against the Doggies with just their midfield and their method at the moment. So I believe they have every chance to knock off the Doggies here. Something just tells me I should play the safe option. You know, a few of their midfielders are really in form. The Doggies, Bontempelli. But yeah, they're having their issues when going forward. So tough one. Honestly, I think it's sort of like a 50-50 game. Really rate the Dockers here, and I'll go for them. I reckon the Dockers will pick up this win at Marvel Stadium. But yeah, you know, off the bye. It's just off the bye. I don't know about the Bulldogs. So yeah, Freo, they're up and about a little bit. We'll go for them. And yeah, they'll get the job done at Marvel Stadium. A huge win to keep their season alive. And we'll go to the Dockers for a bit of an outsider's tip, and they'll win by close one, 9 points. Moving on now to the next game. This is a really interesting one here. The Suns hosting the Pies at Heritage Bank Stadium. Gold Coast with a much needed win over the Hawks by a convincing margin. It was by around 70 odd points, versus the top of the table of the Pies. They've shown Collingwood they are a pretty good interstate side this year. They've played pretty decently well across many states. Obviously, their only losses came against the Brisbane Lions and the Melbourne Demons. So heading up into the Gold Coast to face the Suns. I think this year the Suns have actually been a lot better than what people think at home, and especially in Darwin. The only losses they've had there was that close one against the D's. They did get pumped by the Swans in round one, but that is back in round one. I think just generally in Gold Coast, they are a really good side. They really take it up into some really good opposition. So I think right off the bat, this will be a close one. You know, after quarter time, the Suns really flexed their muscle. They were really good in the midfield. Their ball movement was superb as well against the Hawks. But this is a big test against the Pies, who are just, you know, the top team in the competition. We all do know they're very good in multiple areas. But I think the past few weeks, they have been quite beatable in a few areas, the Pies, especially when defending their ball movement. A few teams have sort of been able to go to homework with matching them in pressure and contested ball. They've been a very good turnover team as of late, the Pies. But as for the Suns, they are a very strong clearance side. So yeah, Noah Anderson and, you know, Real in there have to be at their absolute best. So I feel like the Suns are a genuine chance here. It should be a close game. I really like them for this tip here, but I just feel the Pies are going to pick up another close one. They've just been so good in these close ones here. And they have, again, yes, been sort of beatable in a few areas. So I reckon the Suns can probably expose them in a few areas, maybe when going forward and trying to match them in the contested game and pressure. But for me, the Pies, just going to back them in. Love watching them. I reckon they'll pick up another close one. Under a kick, we'll go Collingwood by 4 points. Reckon this one will be an absolute cracker. For Saturday night now, we do have the Dons facing Port Adelaide at the MCG. As I say again, Port Adelaide, another team coming off the bye. From what we've seen this year, are they a chance to lose and their winning streak to come to an end against the Dons, who are always a team you never want to write off with tipping this year? Yeah, they'll play Port. They're still a very young and inexperienced side, but at the G, at home, especially against good teams, I feel like they've played their best footy this year, the Dons. They've been, yeah, just a really good team, I think, with ball transition and ball movement. They always like to control the game with uncontested marks and etc. But Freo sort of seem to find a way to beat that. They're pressured really well, and they beat them at ground level. They had barely any forward half winners, I felt, the Dons last week. So I expect them to really bounce back and a few players to really get going again. But yeah, Port Adelaide, one of the top rated attacks in the competition. They're very good when going forward. One of the top forward half sides. They've shown they're able to do it. Interstate, they've been very good at Marvel. They got that win at the MCG the other week ago. And I just think Port Adelaide are flying at the moment. They're just one of the best stories so far this year. They're really good defensively, very underrated defensive back six. They're good in the midfield. But I understand a lot of people are probably going to be tipping Essendon here for the upset with Port Adelaide coming out off the bye. But I'm just loving what Port Adelaide are doing. I'm bullish on them, so I'll back them in away here, even though I feel like this is a massive danger game for them. But yeah, Port Adelaide, I think they'll be too strong defensively. So I will back in the power to pick up a beauty of a win and to keep their winning streak going to, I think it's 11 or 12 in a row. I've lost count. They've been going that great. Port Adelaide with a close one, I reckon. This one could go either way. We'll go Port, maybe for a close game up to 3/4 time, but they'll seal it in the end and win by 16 points. For the Sunday games now, first one here, very interesting matchup. The Hawks facing the Blues at the MCG. The Blues again off the bye, so don't know what to expect. Hawks, I expect them to bounce back with their poor game last week. Against the Suns again, young and inexperienced. They always are going to have poor games, and they've been a really poor side. Interstate, the Hawks have been very good at home, but Interstate haven't been too great. So I expect this one to be a cracking affair. I think the Hawks will really take it up to the Blues, but yeah, the Blues are the much needed win against the Suns, and is that just fool's gold? What are we going to expect? They're just a hard one to grab a grasp on, the Blues. They've been hard to tip. But, you know, with Curnow and Mackay, I felt were firing really well. As of late, the Blues have started to play a bit more of an offensive brand, but they're just a bit of a mystery at the moment, especially after the bye, so I can't really say too much about it. Just have to really pick a tip here. I actually don't really know who's really going to win this one. Don't know which team will turn up. But again, I have to say the Hawks without James Sicily is a big pain in their defence. They had a lot of ball users back there, but whenever they tried to go D50 and transition the ball, they were really poor. They shut down easily from those Suns defenders, and they were able to move the ball way too easily. So yeah, I just feel like with no Sicily, it's sort of like a no Hawthorn thing. And yeah, given the Blues are favourites, I'll back them in, even though it's sort of an unconvincing tip. I still don't know about the Blues heading into the second half of the year, but they need this win. They usually have played their best against sort of the lower ranked opposition, so I reckon the Blues will get it done on Sunday. But yeah, unconvincing tip, not a very confident tip, but I reckon they'll just get it done with their forwards. And yeah, their midfield really needs to lift. I felt against the Suns, their contested game was good. Do they bank off that? I think they do with this game against the Hawks. So go the Blues to pick it up and win. Probably around, I'd say 20 points. This one could be close, but yeah, I reckon the Blues by around 3 to 4 goals ago. Blues by, 20 points. Next Sunday game here, we've got the D's hosting the Giants at T.O. Traeger Park in Alice Springs. So this one is an interesting one here. Again, the D's are without Clay Nova. Don't know what's with him. He's just having hamstring problems, and then he's having, infection problems. So it is still a bit of a key out for the D's. But yeah, the past few weeks from what we've seen, they've just always seem to be a strong contested side, a strong defence. Even though they let that one slip in the fourth term against the Cats, I don't think that's internally too bad of a loss. I'm pretty sure they will bounce back against a Giants side who, honestly, I think they're a genuine chance of the upset here. They've just been really good against good quality opposition this year, the Giants, and you never want to count them out. But again, after the bye, they might be a little bit sluggish. Josh Kelly coming back from injury was superb. Their game against Fremantle the other week ago will give them plenty of confidence. But for me, the D's just simply should be too strong here. I'm liking the way they're playing. They are obviously still one of the top teams in attack and defence. Transition, they've been quite decent too. They've been really, really good off the turnover as well. Defence, again, strong. But I still always have a few issues with the D's, though, with scoreboard pressure. And I feel like with the Giants, they are a very plucking, competitive side that always can nab a goal too. So I don't mind the Giants here for the upset. But yeah, I just feel like the D's are going to be too strong in a few areas, especially defensively and around the ball. So yeah, for me, the D's will get the job done here in Darwin. Maybe a close game. I feel like this one could be a bit of a close one, but maybe the D's run away with it in the fourth term. We'll go Melbourne to win by around 4 goals ago, Melbourne by 23. And for the final game here, the West Coast Eagles hosting the Saints. Both teams off an absolutely poor loss. Of course, there's going to be a lot of pessimism from both sides. I'm guessing there's a lot of Saints fans that will generally think they'll lose this game against West Coast who maybe for a quarter or two could push them, because they always have played a few decent patches at Optus Stadium, but interstate they've just been awful. But West Coast coming off their worst loss in probably their history, 107 points against the Swans, an absolute shellacking. There's definitely going to be plenty of pain inside the four walls of the footy club, but do they bounce back and show a bit more of a competitive effort? I guess they do. Maybe they'll throw the magnets around. Maybe they'll drop a few senior players that were terrible. But yeah, for me, the Saints should be too strong here right off the bat. I can't tip the Eagles. I get, yes, there could be a bit of pessimism, as I say again. Maybe a few Saints fans think they'll drop this one. But for me, the Saints should be too strong. I think, for the rest of the year, for any opposition that's playing the Eagles, they should look at this as a win. I just feel like they're way off it at the moment, the Eagles. The Saints should waltz into Perth and pick up a beauty to get their confidence back up, because they still are sitting in a good spot inside the 8, still a chance to push into the top 4. So yeah, the Saints needing a percentage booster here, because the percent at the moment is actually looking quite decent. So yeah, the Saints pick up a big win in Perth, and we'll go St Kilda by over 40 points. Go Saints by 45. So overall, there were my tips for round 16 of the 2023 AFL season. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to enjoy. Bloody keen that the bye rounds are finally over. I actually are able to now watch every single game. So yeah, really keen to see how things unfold into the back half of this season. So yeah, once again, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to enjoy. And until next time, I will talk to you later. See you later, fellas.